Hello, is anyone here? Okay, I'll start the class. Hope you join. So, if you have checked the lessons that I have given you, you have since I have heard from you a few times. So, you see that I have given you two lessons, one on group discussion tips and one on a few topics where I had discussed it. So that was just a beginning. That was just to give you an idea of what type of topics may come up and how much you have to talk about it. Now, if you follow the tips that have been given of the do's and don'ts, I'll try to just go along with the tips once more so that um, it is hammered home. So the first tip is rich content. Now that is what I was trying to help you do when I gave you some topics and asked you to write on them. First, I also shared some of the topics, whatever material I found online, that those were not my written down answers. They were what people were saying and what was accepted by various groups. So there were authentic things which you can understand, which you can see. Now, what you need to do is you have to, prepare about the subject that you are talking. In many cases, we get topics which we have not much idea. But still, if we keep a little bit of quiet and start thinking about that, we can at least come up with two or three points. And what I'm asking you to do is when you go to a group discussion, the first thing that you do after settling down is take out your pen and paper and write down the topic that is given by the examiner, by the interviewer. So when you write it down, you find certain part of it is clear and certain part of it is not clear. So go ahead and question the interviewer and ask whatever the emphasis is going to be, what he wants to. Instead of asking um, questions, what you want to ask us or what you want to hear from us, rather put emphasis on the top, on a part of the topic, and that will help you understand what he is or she is more interested in. So once you get that, then if whatever you got, write down the points, those points that you understood after what the examiner clarified. After you get the clarification, instead of thinking how will I approach, what will I do to show my leadership qualities, what will I do to stop this thing, what will I do to carry on the conversation and all those things, just focus on the topic. That gives you two benefits. One, it helps you not to get any more nervous. You are nervous, but not to get any more worked up in spite of the fact that you're already at. And at the same time, it also helps you calm down and find out a few points or few examples, few stories that you can relate. Similar thing happened to my friend. This is a topic where I can share my experience. So just write down a few more topics that you were thinking about and then start speaking. Now, when we are in a group discussion, the first thing that we all know is watched is if we are good leaders. Now, leadership qualities are sometimes very ingrained in us. Sometimes we have to adapt something to show. If someone is comfortable enough with the points that you have got, you can start speaking. So your initiative, the initial initiative that you have taken, you have proved that you are a leader who would be leading from the front. You would take the step forward so that people can follow you. Done. You have proved yourself. Now you need to go on with proving the task, proving other things. If you are not comfortable starting the discussion, doesn't matter. You may have be the second person, third person, fourth person, but when you are that, just remember to find out the ideas that were shared by your previous speaker or the one before him or her, and note down a few points about each speaker, important point of a speaker, which was very specific, which was very different to. So take up a point from one or two or three previous speakers, not more than three, and agree or disagree with them, and then give your point and your example. Give two or three points that you would like to share that these are your addition to the group discussion. You have listened, you have added something to it, you have acknowledged your group and went ahead with the discussion. Another leadership quality. You are not leading from the front, you are leading from within, taking everyone with you. You are moving forward. Um, if you are mentioning one or two speakers with their name, you show another leadership quality by emphasizing that you remember them personally. You are not nervous or jumbled because it is a very tense situation. In spite of everything, you remember names because you are a good leader. So these are few qualities. There are many points given here. You will read it. You have already read it. You know that. So go ahead and first think about the topic, what are the points that you have with you. Then when you start speaking, do those do one of these things. Either start first, or remember two or three names and their points and mention it before mentioning your point. Just by saying that Ravi said this and Deepika said this and I agree with their point, I would like to say that my opinion is so and so. I have this example, or I would like to support my ideas, my point of view with an example. So that shows your enough leadership quality. Next thing that you have to always remember in a group discussion is that is the probably the okay. I'll come it when it is not in the don'ts. Next thing that you have to remember is being relevant. Now, what happens is, I mean, like the story that we had heard when we were kids or when we were young, that I have mugged up at home an essay on the cows, and when I go to the exam at school, I found out that I have an essay on the river. So I write one sentence about the river. The second sentence I say that river is a place where the cows come to drink water, and then I start talking about the cow because that is only the essay that I know or remember. So many people, I have heard our interviewers come and complain in our college that you take up this topic and then you talk in a tangent, like this essay of the cow. So please remember to be as relevant as possible. Stick to the topic as much as you can. If you don't have much to say about the topic, give an example, give a story, give a episode, give a anecdote, give something supporting it. Don't need to give data, don't need to give points, give some supporting evidence. That is enough. Don't move out on a tangent. Next point, the most a very important point is being a good listener. Now, what happens is every organization wants a person who always engages, does not always have to be a leader, but definitely has to be an engaging personality, a person who is a good listener, a person who understands and empathizes. You have very high leadership quality, but you are not empathetic. You don't have a quality of a good listener, you won't be a fit for a company. Both these things are very essential. How do you prove you are a good listener when you are sitting in a group discussion? As I said, that when you are talking third, fourth, or fifth, remember to mention two or three names and the important point in that discussion, in their dialogue, that they, in the things that they said. So when you remember that, that means you have listened, you have paid good attention, and as a result, you know what they have said. So when you are a good listener, you would be listening, you would be remembering, and that means you would also be empathetical with them. That means when you go to the organization, you would understand the customers or the or your I mean colleagues problems, empathize with it, and give a very solid solution. That is something which is required for every member of the organization. So this is a no brainer. You have to do it. You have to be a good listener, and you have to mention a few names and the topics that and the points that they have said, and then go on with your discussion. Last but not the least is good communication skills. Now, good communication skills comes with a few pointers to develop your communication skills, because now you are at a time where you can speak for a few minutes about any topic, subject related or general. So think of a topic, practice, because practice only makes you a good communicator. So to practice, what you have to do is take a topic, and you can immediately start speaking, or if you feel a little bit uncomfortable, take a piece of paper and write down two or three points of that topic that you can talk about, that anyone can talk about, that should be talked about that topic. Just write down a few points, fold the paper, don't look at the paper, and start speaking. Don't record yourself, either a video or an audio. Just speak. And remember, at the initial stages, at least speak for 30-40 minutes, and if possible, 1 minute. Sorry, 30-40 seconds, or if possible, 1 minute. So initially, you start talking about a particular topic for 1 minute. Gradually increase your tenacity and make any topic that you take up to speak for 4 to 5 minutes minimum. You should at least go on at a stretch to talk for 5 minutes. And when you are have improved your um, capacity to continue talking on a topic for 3 minutes, start making audio recordings, because when you record, you'll find that you are sometimes repeating sentence, I mean word by word, or almost rearranging the words, but repeating the similar sentence. So that is something we need to avoid. And to avoid that, what we would do, the second time we are repeating, we will add an example or a story to that same repetition. It adds variety, it increases the time you can speak about a topic, and it gives you lots of benefit, lots of practice. When you speak in front of a crowd, or in a group discussion, or any other place, you will find that this type of examples, stories, makes your whatever you're speaking more attractive. People are more interested in what you speak. So increase your time limit to 5 minutes. Now, if you play back your recording each day, when you are playbacking your recording, remember to have a time gap of at least 3 hours from the time you have spoken. You must have forgotten about it, and then you start listening. And you can do this exercise twice a day, but remember to do it at least once a day for the next 90 days, 3 months, and you would be perfect in your communication skills. So first you are taking a topic and writing it down, then you are writing the points down, closing the copy or the paper, and talking about it at least for 5 minutes, recording yourself on an audio recorder. Once you have recorded, and then is now comes the time where you should count the number of words you are speaking. Count the number of words you are speaking in 5 minutes. Make an average and find out your speed limit. Most cases you'll find you are less than 200 words. Try to increase the speed and come up with 250 words a minute, because an efficient communicator, efficient speaker of a non-native country, by non-native I mean countries where English is not the first language, English is not the mother tongue. Sorry. In such a country, you should have 250 words per minute speed. So go up to that speed and then go ahead and make video recording of your speech, of the time that you are speaking. When you make a video recording, you'll find two things. You'll find out first that the body language that you're using, not too much hand movement. There should be definitely eye contact. So when you're recording yourself, look at the eye of the camera and try to talk. Then what happens? You have the practice of looking at the person you're talking to and speaking. Makes the entire speak speech more effective, more uh, appreciative, makes up a good communication. So these two things you can practice at the same time. What you have to do is you have to listen to all the grammatical mistakes that you're making, all the uh, sentence construction mistakes you're making. If you find that you need some help, go ahead and ask help from any experts. You can show it to me. I will I will be glad to help you out. And then you practice your grammar, practice a little bit of sentence construction, and get over this problem of being not very good English speaker. Most of the cases, people expect you to speak more or less grammatically correct English. So go ahead and practice, correct yourself so that you can be more or less correct. Next thing that you can do is, this is optional. It is enough to speak in simple English, but sometimes you give too much repetition of the words, and that is not nice to hear. So you can just find out few alternatives and add that to your vocabulary. Don't try to teach yourself lots of new words and use them. You won't remember them, and most of them are not necessary in normal speech, normal day-to-day speaking. So don't go into huge vocabulary chunks. Just go on practicing a little and adding a little bit of words. 2 or 3 words each week is enough. Practice and practice those new words so that it gets into your vocabulary. You can remember it whenever you need. And after that, when you practice in front of the camera, 5 minutes, 250 words, good body language, almost perfect grammar and sentence construction, good vocabulary. What else do you need for becoming a great communicator? You have almost nailed nailed it. You have developed yourself in a good to become a good English speaker. Next, we come to the don'ts. So don't be aggressive. Don't try to fight it out. It is not a fight club. It is a boardroom that you are going to do this next. So there is no chance of being aggressive. Always remember not to contradict yourself in a group discussion. First you agree to the topic, then you disagree, because that has become more important point. No, stick to stick to whatever you have been saying. Don't oppose yourself. Next point is, as I said, I was trying to say before, that don't allow, neither should you contribute nor should you allow this situation of being a fish market. Sorry. So if you find that there is a lot of people talking at one time, you should just go ahead and ask them to uh, take turns, put some power behind your words, show your leadership skill, and tell the group that they need to slow down, they need to take up their arguments one by one. People can say, yes, I agree when others are talking, but only that much is allowed. One or two words, not more than that. And no one should speak when someone is putting forward his or her idea. And last but not least is, try to speak more than once. Don't put all your points, all your ideas in one go. Take the next turn, take the third turn. As many times as you speak, you prove that you are very confident, you are very comfortable, and you have lots of confidence in what you're speaking. You know what you're doing. So hope you will remember this. Try to practice your communication skills, and then go ahead and do the exercise, submit your assignment, because I have not yet got all your assignments. And today I'll be sending you this lesson along with an assignment. Tell me about yourself. Now, why is it asked? What is expected of you? What simple formulas we can follow? And some tips to really make this work is given here. So just go ahead, read it, write your answers, and get back to me. I have even added some sample answers. They won't be your situation. Find out your situation. I have added a video. I will also add today's doubt clearing session, today's session of group discussion with it, so you can read it for your previous assignment, and you can read this lesson and watch the video and prepare the next assignment. I will be talking about this in our next session, same time, same day. Okay, so I think I should stop the meeting now. If you have any doubts, just email me and I'll talk about them in the next session.